How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Box to Box. Unfortunately, we couldn't do this one in person, but fortunately, we've managed to get a Lons fan on board for the Box to Box. We've got Lons in the Champions League away from home Tuesday night. It's our second Champions League fixture, having been back in the competition for the first time in 6.5 years. And I've got with me a Lons fanatic, Simon, in the building. Simon, thank you for giving us your time. How you feeling, my bro?
I'm feeling very well. Thanks for having me. Real a pleasure to be with you today.
Nice. It's the pleasure's all ours, man. Like I said to you off stream, it's difficult finding, European fans that can accommodate doing a show like this or a stream. So I really appreciate your time. And let's just get straight
My
into it
pleasure.
because
Yeah.
there's quite a bit to talk about. And I tend to start Box to Boxes talking about the opposition team, getting a bit more of an understanding, and who better to give me that understanding than you. Let's start on last season. I mean, you finished second, just 1 point behind PSG. A great season. I don't think it's a season anyone could have predicted. To be honest, it's a similar season to Arsenal's last year, where we finished second,
True.
not a point behind Man City, but no one expected it from us. But talk to me about Lons and how that came about. I mean, did you even expect to be in the top four, let alone in a title race?
So that was a dream, actually, to be fairly honest. And you're absolutely right. I mean, when we were looking at the standings, at like maybe after like 20 games, something like that, we were wondering if we could have the title. And I guess that was pretty much like Arsenal was.
Mm-hmm.
And so no, we were not expecting that season. The two previous ones were seasons we finished seven, so 2 times in a row actually. So the objective was kind of to finish in the rankings to go to Europe. Would be the European League, or maybe Champions League. But finishing better than seven, that was the objective originally. And then while the team starting to play really strongly, from the very very beginning of the season until the very end. You're right. We finished 1 point just behind PSG. But to be fairly honest, the first step, the title was a bit too far. We knew before the end of the championship that PSG will win it, and so the real objective was to get this second place, which was a bit difficult because there's been Marseille competing a lot. We've lost actually until the very end of until like 3 to 4 games before the end of the championship.
Yeah.
And so that's been a very long season for the club, but we were very very happy to finish on this second place, and well, happy overall with the full season. Also regarding the games, because we finished with 84 points, which is huge. I think it was a record last year. I'm pretty sure it was a record actually last year. And there's been great games, because you can finish a season with a lot of points, but if there's only boring games, it's not a great season.
Yeah.
But we finished second. We won against like Paris in the middle of the season. We won like great games against Monaco, against Marseille at the very end of the season to secure that second place. So that's been really a huge season for the fans. The stadium was full for the whole season. It was a nightmare to get some tickets for the whole season actually last year, and that's going to be the same even for this year, even for Champions League. So that's been a great season that will stay in our memories of Lens fans, definitely for now.
Yeah, and I mean, look, great season, and then the transfer window comes, and when I look at some of the standout performers for Lons last season, I mean, two in particular, Seko Fofana, and I think his name is Loïc Openda, your top scorer. He scored 21 goals in the league, and
Great.
us having had Balogun there, who also scored 21 goals, we know scoring 20 goals in any league is a difficult task, even though a lot of people look down on League One and especially players coming over from France. But you lost a big striker in Openda. You've brought in a big striker from Montpellier. His name is Wahi, I believe, a 20-year-old striker. He scored 19 himself last season. And you also brought in a midfielder from Basel in Switzerland, Juf, I believe his name is, another 20-year-old. In terms of your transfer window, before we actually go into this season and how your season started, did you expect that? I mean, are you familiar with, Lons being a selling club, and if a player does, reach a certain level, then you would kind of expect them to go? Or was you hoping that with the Champions League football, you might retain these key players' services and build on top of them?
So to be fairly honest, I think we were expecting that transfer window, but maybe not what exactly happened. So Fofana, for example, he was our best player for the 3 previous years, actually. And he's done really, really great for the club. And we were kind of expecting he would be leaving because he's done the job, he's really brought back Lens at the top actually, and really playing great for these 3 years, being a great captain. And so 12 months ago, the club actually signed again a long-term contract with Fofana, but actually we kind of knew it was to better sell him, let's say, and he left to Saudi to play with Sadio Mane, with Cristiano Ronaldo, in Al Nassr. And so it was kind of expected, let's say, and he's been replaced by Diouf, which is slowly but surely starting the season, let's say. And not only with Diouf, with also some additional players such as Mendy, who is more like a defensive midfielder, and El Ainaoui as well, coming from the third division. And the players are not exactly the same. You can't really replace Fofana, but we've hired like really great players. And Openda was kind of a bit more of a surprise because we thought that he would be staying for an additional year at Lens, at least to play the Champions League with Lens. And he was kind of saying he's going to stay, but eventually he did not. I think it was a player decision, at some point. And when you're having so he left to Leipzig, and when you're having this kind of team, like looking at you, kind of wishing to go there. So I'm not that surprised he left. But you're right. He really he have done a crazy season last year, scoring 21 in League One, and really putting the club, same as Fofana, putting the club back at the top. We replaced him with Wai, as you mentioned. So it was like pretty big transfer for Lens, at least, because Openda left for something like 40 million. Wai arrived for 35, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's big numbers for us. Definitely very, very big numbers for us. But happy to welcome that guy, Eddie Wai, who is a young guy. He's playing in the U21 for France. He's doing really, really great. He had a very slow start, cold start maybe, but like 2 days ago, he scored his first one against Strasbourg away, and great goal actually. I advise to go to see this one actually. So we are really happy to see him getting some confidence, let's say, and being stronger game after game, let's say. I think you're on mute.
Oh yeah, I was sorry. I was going to mention that I think he scored his first goal on the weekend, but
yep.
The start of the season, you mentioned a slow start for Wai, but it was a slow start for Lens as well. I mean, the
Absolutely.
first 5 games, losing 4, drawing 1, it didn't look good. But in the last 3 games, starting off with a great point away to Sevilla, which we're in the same group. I was looking at, and I was quite surprised about. And then you've picked up 2 wins after. So let's go to that Sevilla game and your expectations and the reality of what you saw. Did you think you could go Sevilla and take something? Did you think you had a chance?
Not really, but I think Sevilla was not doing a great beginning of season as well, to be fairly honest. And so when you look at the very beginning of the season from Lens, is actually you said it. That was really bad. Let's be honest. And so losing these games against Brest, against Paris, against Monaco, having this draw against Rennes, and then you arrive at 4 games. After the beginning, there's three loss, there's 1 draw. The legs are shaking, the team is not really confident. And so then there's I'm not sure if the game against Metz was before or after Sevilla, but these 2 games actually, even if we lost against Metz, this was a game with like Lens attacking for 90 minutes. I think shooting 30 times, even more maybe, but losing the game at the very end.
Yeah.
But the teams get reassured on the fact that, well, they can win, they can attack, they can win, they can get the ball, keep the ball, and attack actually. There's been this game against Sevilla, which was away, and there was kind of no real expectation, but the expectation was to reassure themselves, let's say. And so 1-1 at the end of the game in Sevilla, which is a great team in Europe, at some point.
Yeah.
That's been great. The free kick from Fulgini was crazy awesome actually. I think every Lens fan just exploded at that moment. And yeah, so that was a great one, and it gave confidence. So that game against Metz, that games against Sevilla, and then the 2 next games that Lens won actually, so against Toulouse and Strasbourg, gave some confidence to Lens. And I think Lens is welcoming Arsenal, let's say, in Bollard, with a bit more confidence that it would have been like 2 to 3 weeks ago. So I'm very reassured by that actually.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, listen, I would have preferred to play you after the first 5 games of the season than after the last 3, especially with your new star striker scoring a goal now, and he's off the mark. His confidence should be sky high as well. And looking back at the fixtures between Arsenal and Lens over the years, it's been quite a while since we've faced each other in competitive competition. I think the last time, off the top of my head, was 2000 UEFA Cup. I think it was a
Yes,
semi-final.
semi-final.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
1-0 and 2-1, if I'm not mistaken.
Tight
Who
games.
were like Scanu, Henry,
Yep.
Bergkamp, the first game, Bergkamp
Yeah.
scored actually.
Yeah.
So, hey, good old teams, huh? Good Dreamcast shirt, I think, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. Yeah, like good old shirt, for Arsenal. But yeah,
You know,
old memories, very old memories. Yeah.
funnily enough, you've mentioned shirts, and every time I hear the team name Lons, or I see Lons playing, or Lons just comes up, it reminds me of 1998 because we was in the Champions League group stage together. We was playing at Wembley Stadium at the time, and because both your kits clashed with our home kit, Nike made us a special blue kit that was only worn once. And I'm
Really?
I'm an avid shirt collector. I've got every shirt possible from about 1988 all the way up until 2007, 2008. The only shirt I don't have is that one shirt where we played Lons because it was never released as a replica. It was just simply made for that match. So yeah,
So it's a very collector one. I guess the guys that have it should keep it like very, very secretly, I guess.
100%. That is I mean, there's Arsenal have a few grails in terms of kits, and by grails I mean very rare kits that might not have been worn too often. But the real the one grail, especially for me because I haven't got it, is that shirt we wore against you lot. So hopefully one day I find it. But you are right. If anyone does have it, keep hold of that because that is a gem to say the least. And I'm looking
Definitely,
at
yeah. I hope you will find it, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm looking at your statistics from this season so far. We both played 7 games. You've scored 7, conceded 12. We've scored 15, conceded 6. So a bit of a difference there. You're 14th in the league. We're currently 3rd. But how much have you seen of Arsenal this season and over the last year or two?
So, well, when we look at the season of Arsenal last year, actually, well, this is great actually, and we mentioned it at the very beginning. Both France and Arsenal did a great season. Arsenal's fighting for the title, maybe like for 30 games, something like that. I can't really remember.
Yeah.
And yes, we are seeing now Arsenal being back at the top on the Premier League and on Champions League as well. And so I'm seeing the beginning of from far, of course, but I'm seeing the beginning of the season from Arsenal as well. I think you've not lost a game on Premier League, if I'm not mistaken.
No, any
And there's been
competition.
this any competition, and there's this 4-0 against PSV. There's been this 4-0 against Bournemouth, like yesterday, 2 days ago, yesterday. And so yeah, when I'm looking at this, I see a team that is playing really well. Great players, actually, great transfer window as well. And so I'm seeing as way more than Lens, actually, Arsenal coming to Lens with a lot of confidence. And I'm looking forward to the game actually because Lens 14th welcoming Arsenal that is 3rd right now. I'm starting to breathe loudly. We will exhale after the game. Hopefully, that will be a victory for Lens or a draw for Lens. I don't know, but it will be challenging. Let's say definitely.
It's going to be challenging. If you had to pick out one player that you're worried about this Tuesday night, and one player you think that Lens need to keep quiet in order to get the win, who would that player be? And before you answer that question, Saka hobbled off injured against in the last match.
He's not going to play.
No update yet, but the quick turnaround. It's only a 2-day turnaround between the Bournemouth game and then the upcoming game with Lens. So I doubt he's going to feature, and especially with Manchester City coming up on the weekend. That's a big one, even though it's very early in the season. So let's say without Saka, who would be the key player for you that you'd have to keep quiet?
Well, I would have said Saka, but without Saka, because I think in any case, whoever is playing right wing, that would be an interesting fight against Medina and Machado on one side actually. But I'd say Gabriel Jesus if he's playing as well, and I guess he will be.
Yeah.
On the other side, the pitch on the left wing, I think the challenge for left and right defenders on Lens to fight against Saka or whoever is going to play, and Gabriel Jesus on the other side actually is going to be really tough actually. I've seen a bit Odegaard playing, and I think he's really impressive, to be fairly honest.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to see the midfielder battle.
Yeah.
Between like Odegaard, Declan Rice, and Diouf and Samet, for example, on the long side. I think that will be one of the key of the game, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's the players that are kind of scaring me, let's say, for this game.
Yeah, a few, and it's changed over the years. I mean, Saka and Odegaard tend to be the ones people usually pick on the box to box. But you're right, Jesus is another one. If Martinelli's fit, he'd be another one. Trossard, even, I'm not too sure where these lot are in their recovery yet, but I'm hoping, especially before Man City, Martinelli at least or Trossard are ready to pick up some minutes. But we'll see. You've picked that Jesus as the key threat. I hope Jesus actually starts up top instead of on the left, but we will see because he's only started one game up top this season, and that happens to be in the Champions League against PSV, where 4-0 comfortable victory and probably the most fluid we've been all season. And I need you to help me out now, Simon. If I'm Mikel Arteta and I'm looking at Lens, who should I be worried about? Who do I need to nullify? Who do I need to keep quiet this Tuesday in order for Arsenal to pick up the result and pick up the required points?
So I think if you're Mikel Arteta, you should be worried about Sotoka and Wai. I'd pick two. It was an easy choice, let's say, but I'd pick two. Sotoka and Wai, because, well, they've proven against Strasbourg actually this weekend that they can play very well together actually.
Yeah.
Why we said it, cool start. But I mean, the World Club made a cool start actually. But whenever he's playing against teams that wants to play, whenever there's space behind the defenders, it can be going really, really fast and just behind the defenders actually, and take some good passing from Sotoka, from Fujini, from any of the person actually. So I'd be worried for the central back, let's say on Arsenal side for both Sotoka and Wai. That would be my picks. For the Arsenal fans, I'd say Samba. Because, well, he's a great goalkeeper and, he can be frustrating, let's say, the strikers ahead of him. He's really strong. Last year he's done a great year coming from Nottingham, before Nottingham Forest, and then doing a great year at Lens. Really being key in the fact that we lost only 4 games last year, being the best defense, if I'm not mistaken, for the French league. And so he's doing great. He was even competing for the Yashin Trophy, which was completely unexpected a year ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe less for Arteta, but maybe for the fans, if somebody is, doing 1-2 stops at the very beginning and taking confidence at the beginning of the game, that will be tough for the strikers to score.
Yeah, I understand. Well, he was up for the Yashin Trophy this year.
I think so. I saw his name, if I'm not mistaken. That was a surprise. So yeah, I think he's up for the Yashin Trophy. Yeah.
Ramsdale too, funnily enough. So there's another little battle going on between Arsenal, Lens, and somewhere else. Before we move on to predictions, I just want to ask you: do you think you're going to set up to stifle Arsenal and try and frustrate us defensively, or do you think, being the home team on the Tuesday night, you're going to try and take the game to us?
I think so. Lens is a team that is playing. And Lens is even more a team that is playing when home. At some point, there's the audience, there's the fans that is here. You can't play defense. You just can't actually. And first, it's for the fans, it's not okay, and it's not in the DNA of Lens. Well, not anymore. It could be in the past, but it's not anymore. And so I think Lens is going to try to keeping the ball is not really the point, but at least they get the ball, they do attack. That's the point. And so I'd be surprised if we see a boring game. At some point, I think it's going to be even from maybe not from the first minute, but at some point it's going to go, well, box to box, actually. Yeah. And I'd be surprised if we don't see a great game actually. So I think Lens will be attacking whenever they get the ball, going to Raya's box and just trying to score as much as possible. They won't too much play defense, except if they score at the very beginning, which could totally change the game. But well, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, sorry, one more question before we move on to predictions. I just thought to myself, what was the last big team that has come to Lens Stadium and you've played a game against it? What was the last big European fixture you had?
That's a very good.
Sorry, I've just put it on you randomly, but I just thought to myself, it's been a little while.
We've got to dig into memories, at some point. You being young and watching the game, maybe more at the TV than at the stadium, but. When you think about it, so out of French League, of course, in Champions League, I think in 2002, 2002, my bad. We've played the group stage against Milan, La Corogne, and sorry, I don't have the word in English, Deportivo, and Porto, I think. Bayern München, and then Porto in Europa League. And actually, Lens won the games against both Milan and Deportivo, home, not away, but home. And so I think that was the last, maybe I'm missing some, but I think that was the last, sorry, big European games that we get at the stadium. So long, 20 years ago, 21 years ago, actually.
What a
It's like,
group as well.
it's really old. Yeah, huge group. Definitely.
Milan, Heritage, and Bayern Munich, Heritage. Even Deportivo. I know some of the younger fans watching this now won't understand it, but back then Deportivo had a quality side. Was it Diego Tristan up top and Valeron, I think, in midfield? Or they had a few players in there anyway. There was a top team in Europe. All right, Simon, you're the home team. So we're going to move on to predictions. And as the home team representative, you're going to go first with your prediction this Tuesday night.
All right. I'll give it a try. I mentioned earlier that I think that's going to be an attacking game, let's say, from both sides. So, well, I might be unrealistic, but I'll say maybe a 3-2 for Lens. Maybe 3-2 or 2-2, I don't know, but I want my team to win, you know, so I'll say 3-2. I think that can, if there's some goals, will it be from Arsenal or Lens actually being scored at the very beginning, that can be a crazy game. And Lens, you know, is, how to say it, is very committed to victory team, which means that if they get the first goal against them, they will do everything to at least go for the draw and potentially for the victory. So maybe if Arsenal is scoring the first one, that will go 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, etc., etc. That could be a crazy game. So I'll say, let's say 3-2 loss, and that would be great actually, because a victory for the comeback of Champions League in Bollard, actually, everyone would love it. So let's say 3-2. What about you?
I'm gonna before I make my prediction, I'm gonna let you know, Simon, that we haven't conceded a goal away from home so far this season. So that's a bold prediction you made.
There's always a start.
There's always a start.
I know it's a bit unrealistic, but well, let's do it.
Go for it. Go for it. I'm gonna go with a win. I'm gonna go with a 3-1 Arsenal. You know, people, as soon as I said that, I know the viewers out there be like, Turkish always goes 3-1. But on the prediction tables I'm in, Big Six, Forever Arsenal, I'm top of the prediction table. So 3-1 has done well for me this season so far. I'm tempted to say 3-0 because of our great defensive record away from home. But I'm going to say 3-1 to Arsenal because I think Lens will try and take it to us. I think it's the first massive game at the Lens Stadium, you know, for 21 years in terms of Europe. So I think you lot are going to be very much up for it. You've got some threats there as well. So I think we're going to have to, you know, be on job defensively. But I think we will get the win. I think it should be comfortable in the end, and I'm going to go 3-1. So you're going 3-2 Lens. I'm going 3-1 Arsenal. I would say
goals. Hopefully, if it's 0-0, that will be disappointing. But definitely
100%, especially after the long wait playing each other again for the first time in 23 years, 2000 being the last time. But Simon, like I said at the beginning, really appreciate you giving us your time. I mean, what do you do? Can I promote anything you do in any way, shape, or form in the description? Like, do you want me to put anything in there, social media wise, or are you just
not really? You know, I'm just a simple fan actually, not really hugely acting. Not really acting actually on social media. So yeah, not really in there, just promoting, you know, that game that we are going to see together.
Yeah.
And yeah, looking forward to, well, we are speaking about the game in Bollard actually on Tuesday, but looking forward as well for the game in the Emirates, you know, when is it going to be, like in 2 months, something like that?
Yeah, in about 4 weeks, isn't it? 5 weeks, something like that.
So yeah, maybe we'll see each other there. Maybe.
Yeah, hopefully we can meet in person then, and we can do box to box for the Emirates fixture in person. But if not, we'll do this again come the Emirates Stadium fixture. But listen, Simon, again, I'll reiterate, I appreciate you giving us your time. People, he doesn't have any socials. He's not on YouTube. So show some love to Simon in the comment section below. I'm sure he's going to go through the comments. A great guy, and he gave us his time to discuss Lens, a difficult thing to do, especially box to box in European competition. So big up Simon. Let him know in the comments your thoughts, your predictions, your key threat looking at Lens, and who Lens have to, you know, nullify on the Arsenal side, especially with Bukayo Saka seemingly out of this one Tuesday night ahead of the Manchester City fixture. Hit the like button, people. Let's get it to 1,000 likes nice and early. And love for the love as always. You know what it is already. It's been box to box, Lens away, Tuesday night, Champions League, second fixture of the season. Come on, Arsenal. Let's get it done. Love, people. We're out. Peace.